So hello again to everyone. Welcome to the windPRO webinar about the SketchUp Integration module. My name is Karina Bredell, and I am a part of the development team at EMD International on the windPRO software. The presentation today will be given by my colleague Jon Kopperup, software programmer at EMD International, and our expert in SketchUp. So as you may know, every users of windPRO have actually access to a free trial of the SketchUp integration module until the end of January 2023. That's why we wanted by this webinar to give the opportunity to everyone to get an overview of all the nice and cool features that the tool allows. So the agenda for this presentation, we will look first of all at what the integration tool can offer, that overview, and then we will see how it's possible to easily share 3D project as a web link. We will have a look at augmented and virtual reality options. We will see how it's possible to visualize shadows, for instance, from the wind turbines, on the ground, on the buildings. And then about the improvement of the photomontage, giving realistic visualizations of, for instance, solar PV plants with 3D objects from the huge warehouse offered by SketchUp, or adding vegetation elements in the photomontage or fences. And finally, we will demonstrate how easy it can be used to visualize the transmission lines. So all in all, it will give us some time for some questions at the end. So please, you are mostly welcome to write in the chat all the questions you will have during the presentation. The question will be gathered at the end. We will answer them, and if ever we don't have the time to answer all of them, we will send an answer in written later on per email. Per email, you will also get a link to this presentation, which is being recorded. And yeah, and that was it for the practicalities. So now let's get started, and it's on to you, Jon.
Right, thank you, Karina. I'm just hiding you right here, and then I want to see this over there. So I hope you can all see my screen now, I'll just jump right into it. So I hope that this presentation will give you a clear overview of what you can do with the SketchUp integration module, and if it's something that is useful for you or not. So first of all, I think most of you are using windPRO already, so you know maybe not too much about SketchUp. So it might be an idea to say what that is. And SketchUp is a 3D editing tool, and you can use it to create and edit 3D objects with. And it's been created a long time ago by Google, actually, I think to support Google Earth, the desktop version back in the days when that was new. And later on it's been sold, and now it is owned by Trimble. And there's been a lot of development going on around Google about SketchUp, and now you can do a lot of things with it. You can use it for, because it's a part of a big family of products that Trimble has created, so you can also do VR and AR, and you can share your project and all that. So there's a lot of, originally the SketchUp integration tool with windPRO was made to support photomontages, but as it turned out, there was a lot of other things you could actually do. So there's more to it than just for photomontage users. It's also very nice for others using windPRO that you can share your project and create a 3D version of it. So here I have a small example. I'll go through the whole process of doing this, both showing how you can create this 3D model of your windPRO project, and also how you can benefit from that inside a photomontage. And I'll use this small example here for the demonstration, and I'm just going to explain it just like if you didn't know what windPRO is, because this is going on YouTube, and everybody's might go and see this. So here in windPRO we have this is kind of a GIS application, and we have background maps, and we have elevation data, so we know where things are in geographically. And that is very easy to get these things inside windPRO. We have access to many different background maps and elevation data for the whole world. And then we can insert objects to facilitate different calculations. So, and I prepared for this webinar a small project here with just a few objects in it. So you can see I have here these two fellows. That is some wind turbines. Two different kinds, and I have also added a couple of 3D objects, and that is used for visualizations. That can be anything. In this case, it is models of some transmission masts, and then also you can see the red and the purple areas down here. That's solar PV areas. Then we can just digitize on the map, and then it's filled out automatically with panels, as many of you might know. And the panels are following the terrain. So this is this is the kind of things we can do in windPRO. Then we can do calculations with those. And also there is these two camera objects, and the camera objects are used for photomontages. And you can go take any photo, and then you can actually show on this photo how whatever you have on the other objects you have in your project, they would look on a photo. So that's a good thing. It's a strong tool, and they have a lot of calibration tools here in Photomontage. And as you can see here, the things I explained, I put into the project. You can see that here in this symbol viewer, the transmission masts and the VTG object, and also where the solar PV panels will go. So then I can hit the render button, and then it will show these things in the photo quite precisely. I think I'll just hit the render button, and yeah, it will take just a few seconds with this example here. So if I open it up here, you can see it looks very nice. We have these PV panels, and maybe you would not put PV panels in a terrain like this, but it was just nice to have something that was not completely flat to show these examples. So, and we have the transmission line towers up there, but as you can see, we don't have the transmission lines. Also I would like to have some fence around this PV plant, and I would like to have some trees around it, which is normal in a PV project. So, and those things you can do with the SketchUp Integration tool, and I will show you exactly how you do it in a second. But first I will just show a tiny thing about all the other things you can do if you have exported your project to SketchUp, as I will show you in a second. So I'll just bring in this other screen I have. So this is actually this is my windPRO project. I did this yesterday, exported everything to SketchUp, and you can see and also exported some things that you normally wouldn't see in a windPRO project, like the buildings and stuff. You can also do that with the SketchUp Integration tool, and I exported the transmission lines here, and also I added trees and fences and this transformer station here. So, and actually you don't have to be, you might wonder if this is SketchUp. It is not. This is just showing an example of things you can do when you have your project first exported to SketchUp. Then you can share it, and this is an example of how you can share it. From SketchUp, you can create a link like this that you can send to anyone, and anyone can just open this link, and I'll share it to you also in the chat, or after the webinar we will select the links and stuff I show here, and then you can try that yourself, and that's kind of a cool thing with SketchUp, that you can share a project like this, and you can set it up with scenes like I have here. So, and that is more it's view positions. So if there's something, points of interest in your project you want to show to the user, then you can create scenes showing those. And actually I also exported my photomontage position here and also you can show the photomontage itself. It's lagging a little bit here. I think it's because I'm running this webinar at the same time. So here you can see the photomontage I was starting up in windPRO just before, and you can actually also export that to SketchUp and distribute it with a web link like this. So it's kind of cool, the things you can do here. And then, yeah, I can talk a lot about this. I have made a quick guide on how to come from windPRO to something like this, sharing your project and with the web links. I made a quick guide for that, and yeah, you can find it here in the EMD online help. There's down here you can see there's something about sharing and viewing your 3D models online. And also in this place you can find our YouTube channel that I'll refer to right now. Just remember, I would say that this sharing and viewing 3D models online is also available in the German version. I don't know exactly where to find that, to be honest, but we'll find out and share that with you too. This is from our YouTube channel. I will show another example that what you can do when you first have your project in SketchUp. You can use this tool. Maybe you have seen this video before. It's been on YouTube for a while. Here you can see I exported also from windPRO. Everything here is exported to SketchUp, so you don't have to be a SketchUp expert to use this tool. It's done from inside windPRO. But when you have it in SketchUp, you can actually load it into this other app that Trimble has made that's called Sight Vision. And then you can walk around with your phone or your tablet out in the geography and show your model as it would look. And it's very convincing. You can see I'm walking right here. I'm not sure it works very well sharing my screen with you like this, but I hope you can see this, or else you can go and find the video yourself. And I'm looking to the left here, and I can see the PV panels. I can change the transparency, and I have to admit, this is really working great. I was very happy about how to do this. So also on our YouTube channel, you can find this introduction to use photomontages, and this is an instruction for people starting using photomontages and never know anything about it before, or don't know anything about windPRO. So this is a total tutorial on how to do this, and I'm talking about many things in this, and I think you might pick up something even if you've been using photomontage for many years. But one of the things I'm talking about is this small device here. It's a piece of hardware that's used as a GPS, and it's just that I think it is so very useful. I think I would recommend it to you because it can measure your camera position with a few centimeters precision, and that is just really, really nice when you're calibrating your camera model in windPRO. And also, if you measure some control points out here in the landscape, then you can use that in photomontage, and it's just really a nice way to work. And it's not so expensive, and you can use it for doing this also. It's the same piece of hardware. So I know I should get paid by Trimble to say this, but I don't. But maybe I should talk with them. But yeah, I can highly recommend this. You can find this on the YouTube channel as well. So this is a final example. This is also a small app that you can install on your telephone. It's a different app, and by this you can show your project, windPRO project. This is yeah, it's just another windPRO project that I'm showing here on my table where I'm sitting right now, actually. And this could be on a meeting table, or on the floor, or somewhere you can show a project and walk around with a tablet or phone and show how it looks. In this case, it's you can see it's a CFD result showing as a quiver plot, small arrows here on the map. Yeah, so this is the kind of cool things that just comes with SketchUp, and then also you can show you can use it with VR glasses. I don't know how I should present that. I only tried it one time a long time ago, and that worked nicely. I could walk around in that exact same project, and it worked fine. And there's many different. Trimble has made its own app for VR glasses, and that's the one I tried, and it works fine. And there's others, and I know they also made an application for HoloLenses, so you can do that too. Good. This is a final example. Yet another final example. This is an image I got from Karina, who's been using the SketchUp tool here to get this is actually a photomontage where you render without having a photo. So it's she just used a sky background as a photo and rendered the PV plant and the wind turbines as normal from some random position, and then she added the surface and some trees from the SketchUp created with the SketchUp Integration tool. So that's another purpose for what you can do with it. Right. So I'm thinking, I might have a look at the time, and I'm sure you want to see how you do it. So that is the next thing. Here in windPRO, there's a new button up here called SketchUp Integration Tool. And if I press that one, I have set it up so I can create multiple sessions, and I'll create a new one called Webinar 2. And then it opens this tool window, and here, disregard this video, it's just a small promotion thing that's going on until you start using it. And you can see there is a button called Load SketchUp. I'll just do that first thing. And that would load SketchUp. And SketchUp has to be loaded from inside windPRO. And as you can understand, you need to have SketchUp installed on your computer for this to work. So yeah. So and SketchUp is a commercial product. They do have a free version, and windPRO EMD is not distributing SketchUp, so you have to go and purchase that yourself from Trimble. There is the free version that's been around forever, actually, or until 2017. It still works with SketchUp Make, but it's not allowed to use that for commercial reasons, purposes. But it does work. But it has some limitations also, so I can recommend investing in the professional SketchUp Pro version, and I think that is the right thing to do. And then you also get some other advantages. I'll just show you here. I just tried to start up SketchUp Make, and it showed this. You might want to take a screen grab or something of this, but you can see it says that you have this promotion codes that you can get 25% off of SketchUp Pro. I don't know how long that lasts. And that combined with that, you can we have decided you can use SketchUp Pro, our SketchUp Integration tool in windPRO, which is also a module you have to purchase from EMD. And you can actually, you have decided to make that free until the end of January 2023. So right now you have a window where you can try these things that I'm doing here yourself for free. And I will also upload this project that I'm working on here, so you can actually do exactly what I'm doing here at home. Good. I'll just make this smaller, and then the way it works is that I create exporters. Each button here is an exporter that exports something from windPRO into SketchUp. And first thing, I want to create an exporter exporting a surface. And as you can see down here in the right corner, I can open a tutorial showing how to use this exporter, and that's the case for all the exporters. So I don't want to go into details about all these buttons here, because you can just watch this video and then I explain it in details there instead of. So I'll just pretend you all know what this is all about. I'm selecting which map I want to export to SketchUp, and then I select I want to show select what area I want to export, and I don't want to make it too big, because then the resolution of the surface is too low. It's always using 10,000 points, grid points to define the map. So if it's very large, each grid point becomes large. So it's good to keep the area small. Now I selected the things I want to select, and then I can run the exporter from here. So that's the kind of the idea. You create an exporter, you run the exporter. Maybe you want to, you can go and edit the exporter again, and you can run it again, and then maybe you can, if you're not happy with what you exported, you can delete it. You can see here, now we got the surface as I wanted it, and you can see it's following the terrain quite nicely. And it also created something called tags here. It put the surface on a tag, so that's the way it's organized, and you can see this is the same name as it had over here. It gets in SketchUp. So it's very convenient when you create a lot of things, you get a lot of tags and you can turn them on and off and show what you want to show. So I'll just export some more VTG, for instance, and I want it to point west, and I'll take all selected VTGs. And I select this VTG, and then I run this exporter. There it is. And I don't know if Karina mentioned it, but if you have any questions, we can ask questions at the end, and also you're welcome to just write it in the chat. Then I will answer them afterwards if there's not time during this session. You can see first of all, the VTG is not very detailed. This is a generic VTG, and it looks kind of cartoon-like, but that is because default the edges and profiles is shown. And that is good when you want to edit it, but I don't want to edit the model right now. I'll just try to export the other VTG. Actually, I don't want to see these blue and the red lines either, so I'll just disable access. I'll try to export the other VTG, but then I'll just make that one more detailed. And then I'll run that one again. You can see that takes a little more effort from SketchUp to do that, but then I get the other VTG in a higher detail level. So now I want to show you this thing about shadows here in SketchUp, which is pretty cool. You can turn on shadows. And I don't want that on ground, but you can see that it shows the shadows here on the map. And I can actually go and say rotate VTGs. And here you can see that the generic VTG is rotating, the other one is not. So that is simply because we didn't have time to implement it on the detailed one. So feedback is very interesting, of course. So if you think that rotating VTGs for the detailed one is a top priority, then we would like to get that kind of information from you. So in general, we want a lot of the more feedback, the better about what is missing and what needs improvement. But as it is now, the more detailed one does not rotate, and it's also it could be a bit CPU consuming. But now here you can see I can change the date and time. It's quite interesting to see how short the shadows is in the summertime and how long it is in the winter time. There's quite a big difference, of course. And then you can change the time of day, and you can see how the shadows moves. Right. So that is, I think that's very useful, and it is actually quite accurate. This shadow here calculation and visualization, it's trustable, I think. I'll just export the buildings as you saw in the sample I showed before. And again, I won't go into the details, but I have a shape file. I do actually have a shape file with the buildings in it. If the shapefile had the height, it could have the height of the buildings, then I wouldn't have to use a fixed height. I could use it from the shapefile, but this shapefile does not have the height. So now I just run that one too. I'll just turn off the VTGs rotating. It's not a good idea to have it rotating when you do anything else, because it's not working that well. Right, so now I got the buildings, actually from a far bigger area than I wanted, but that's what was in the shapefile. So then if I turn on that, it should rotate, so we can see that we might have some flicker problems here. So I just want to show this about the shadows. Now I'll move on to the I'll turn that off. It's also slowing down SketchUp a bit if you have shadows on. Now I'll go on to the PV area and export that too. and then you can see these things, how you can use it in photomontages. Of course, you could also use the buildings in a photomontage to mainly to calibrate your camera model. You can see if the building comes in the correct place on your photo. So now I have my PV plants, and yeah, I'll just check my list here. Right. So this is pretty much what we already now. I'm missing the two these two power what do you call it, transmission masts. No, I have these two 3D objects out here that I want to export, so I'll just do that too. And then I'll get the transmission masts as well. So then I have, I would say, all the things that is also included in my photomontage right down here. But now I can start adding these things that I'm missing. For instance, the transformer station. So that is something we cannot do in windPRO so easily now, but it's quite easy if you use the SketchUp 3D warehouse. There you have a lot of stuff in. So I'll search for transformer station, and I'll look into the models. And here you can see that there is quite a lot of crazy stuff. This is a place where everybody can upload whatever they want, and that is reflected very well in all these models here. And I don't think there's any kind of quality control. But still, you can find a lot of useful stuff, and especially if you learn how to use SketchUp, you can edit them yourself and improve them a little bit. So I'll just take this one because it looks quite nice, and you can see here that it's important that there's not that many polygons. This is acceptable. It could easily be 700,000 polygons, and then you might get into performance problems, both in SketchUp and in windPRO. So I'll just download it. This one, it asks me, load this directly into your SketchUp model. Yes, please. And here it is. So I can just put it right here. And if I zoom in, you can see this small guy. Then I could edit the model if I wanted to. Actually, I like to do that, but I don't have to, of course. I like to get rid of this one. And I actually always also like to make it a little darker. I don't know why it should be completely white. So I just make it a little darker like this. So now I will use another very important feature in I think I managed to rotate my photomontage over here. That is unfortunate. Maybe I should write a 0 here. Okay. Oh. That wasn't so bad. I will be pleased if that is the only accident I have during this webinar. So I'll go back here and I'll show you, yes, as I said, one of the most important tools here in the SketchUp Integration tool, and that is this option here, Export Selected Items to windPRO. And as you can see, it's got the blue markings around it, and that means this is the selected object. I could select many objects and export all those at the same time back to windPRO, but of course I didn't want to in this situation. I just want this one, and you can see it shows up here, and if you look on the map, it is created as a new 3D object right here. So yeah, so that is how you can do that. Since you have this huge 3D library, this is really a useful feature. If you're not, of course, you are able to create whatever you want yourself. That will, of course, make it even easier. So now I'll add a few of the other things that I had in my model, and that is the fence first, and also some trees. And I don't know if you can guess which exporter that exports fences. Yes, it is this one. And as you can see here, there's a lot of different types of fences, templates I created. And you can create your own templates and edit the existing ones, and it's all described in the tutorial down here. I would like to use this fence, and I want it to be 2 meters high. And I wanted to follow my PV area like I have here. And I only have one, so I'll just say all visible of them. So, and then I just run it. And as you can see, it turned up quite quickly. So that was a fast exporter. And I'm very happy about this exporter. It makes the fences look really realistic. And that goes for all these fences that we have in the exporter setup. And then again, I could get them back to windPRO and use them in my Photomontage. And here you can see now it's a little more difficult to select it, because if I select, I could select them one by one. Of course, I could do like this, but it's a bit tedious. And of course, I should just mention, if there's some parts you want to, you can have a chance here to edit your model, and maybe you don't want this and this, maybe you want to do something else. You can edit the stuff here before you bring it back into windPRO. So now I just made a small change, and then I go to my this tags thing here, and I'll just deselect all everything except the fence. Now it's, yeah, okay, like this. So then it's a lot easier for me to select it. And you can see this object did not go on a layer or on a tag like the other one. So it's not deselected. It's on the top one. That's a detail. Now I go here and say export selected items to windPRO. And here we have it in windPRO, and you can see that works quite fast. Now I got a new object in my object list. The last one, maybe I should just call that fence. And I call the other one transformer. And you windPRO users would notice that they all just go into a random, the current active layer, and you might want to, of course, organize it a little more smart than that. But for this demonstration, it doesn't really matter that much. Now I want to export the last thing. No, the second last thing. I want to show how to use these the vegetation around the area. And that is, of course, with this. You can see there's a hint showing up, create vegetation, and it looks a bit like the fence exporter, and you can select from different templates and also create your own one. So I'll just use this one. And now I have a problem because I forgot to create a windPRO object to define where to put the trees. I don't have a shape file, so I need a windPRO object that can do it. And I can do it with many different windPRO objects. I can do it with the obstacle object, the area object, the line object, and I can actually also do it with the ruler object. So it might not make so much sense, but it's actually the easiest in this situation. I just hold Shift down, that's a small trick, while I'm inserting the ruler, and then I can make many of them without clicking on the ruler object again. So I'll do that. I'll just add, and then afterwards I can say that I want the vegetation to follow these rulers. I'll also add some down here, and that will go inside the camera view. So I'll go back in here now, and again I want to select the last one, and then I can use a windPRO object, not the PV area. It would fill up the whole PV area with trees if I use that one. So I will create a new one, and I'll use the ruler object. I need to add a buffer around it because it needs to have an area. So I'll make a 2 meter buffer around the ruler object, and I'll just take all visible because there's only the ones I just created. And I want the vegetation to be 6 meter high. That would make the tallest tree 6 meter high. And then I just run this vegetation export. Oh, this time I will show you something smart. You can actually click this re-import to windPRO after export to SketchUp. Then I don't have to go and select it all in SketchUp and say export to windPRO. Then it will be doing that automatically after I run the exporter over here. So I'll just try and do that. So now windPRO is done. And yeah, so now actually you can see here all the vegetation here, and it is already selected and being exported back to windPRO. So that's what windPRO is working on right now, is importing this 3D model of all the vegetation. There's one thing you should notice is that this is from these trees from this template is flat and always facing the camera. So when you export them to windPRO, it's important that they are facing in the direction you want them to face. And I made sure that they are facing in the direction of my camera down here. So I can, on my photomontage, that will point in the correct direction. So now I have a fence, I have some vegetation, and I have a transformer station. Now I want to show you, if I have the time, I think I have, also how to export the transmission lines. That exporter takes a little longer. I think I'll just save my project and also save my SketchUp project, just in case. You might notice that there's all these checkboxes, and that's if you want to export more than one at the same time, you can actually just create a whole bunch of exporters and run all selected. So, but you can also do that if accidentally, and then I tried this a few times, and that could be a little annoying. Okay, I want to show this transmission line exporter. Then it works like, maybe I should just move to a position where I can see the transmission masts here on the blank map. So I go into here, and it's creating the transmission lines between 3D objects. And the 3D objects, of course, then should contain something that makes sense to connect with transmission lines. The way you get started is you add all the visible objects you have in your project. And then you can see the fence. I'm not sure if that's spelled correctly, but and also this one, that might be the trees. I don't want those to be connected with transmission lines. But then you can see now if I try to move the order of the this is the order of the objects. You can see down here it's connected the objects in the list with a line down here on the map, and this is not the way I want them to be connected with transmission lines. I wanted this one to be connected to this one, so I just change the order again here. Right, so this is fine, and then you can go in and define where should the lines be connected to your transmission mast. I have already defined it for this object, and luckily windPRO remembers that, so I don't have to do it again. But the transformer I just imported is not defined for this one. So then I have to go in here and define where I want to add the transmission lines. There was 8 connections on the other object, so I can add. They will be connected to the corresponding 8 points that I define here. Right. So I think I made just a tiny mistake here. So I don't think that I added the correct order. So this might not look as nice as it could. But of course, it's important that you put them in a logical position, so the lines are not crossing on the way from one object to the next one. So as you can see, I have the this model in two projections, a top and a side projection, and that is enough for you to place the connection points correctly. And out here in the right side of this the screen now, you can see the parameters of these transmission lines, which is this is annoying. That's really strange. The properties like the color and the diameter of the transmission line, so you can change that manually if you like. Good. This might not be perfect, but it's good enough for this demonstration. And then I don't want to check this one. Watch the video if you want to know why. And this is about how deep the bend of this is a catenary bow line that these lines will follow, and how exactly should that be. This is the only property you have to define, how low it will hang. So I'll say okay, and actually I want to re-import this one straight away into windPRO after I run it, and then I just run that. It was really fast. And here you have it. As you can see, I managed to make them cross a little strange down here. So that is because of the order I added these points. So of course that was not perfect. It might be easier to see over here in. So it's a matter of how the. I think this top one was number 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then of course they should be matching where it should match down here. So, but you get the idea, no doubt. So now I can go back to my photomontage and try to render this one and see how that looks. Just maximize. And as you can see, especially the vegetation, or I think also the fences and stuff like that, it looks really, really nice. I'm really happy about these templates we have made for vegetation. And of course, you can run the vegetation exporter plenty of times, several times, 2, 3 times, and then you double up how many trees you get. And yeah, all in all, I think that is it's quite useful. One last exporter I will show you before questions is that you can actually export the photomontage itself to SketchUp. And that is quite nice if you want to actually do the visualization in SketchUp, or if you want to export it to 3D Studio Max or to Cinema 4D and do the rendering in other more fancy render programs that is available. But it's quite easy to do it. You can add this. Here I can select which camera I want to export, and I'll say I'll export it 1,000 meters out. And I can show you what that means if I run that one. And now I'll go back to SketchUp. Okay, I need to redo that because I just made once more. It's because when SketchUp is not maximized, when I export it, I export the whole thing as a tiny image, so it's not good. So I made a small error here. I'll delete the layer with the photo on it, and I'll also delete. It takes a second. I'll also delete this scene that is defined up here. Right, and then I'll actually also, no, I just leave that. I'll run the exporter once again. So now you'll see in SketchUp, it looks much better. Then the view is larger. And here you can see, well, actually you can see your whole model, but you can also switch to this camera, just export it, and then you can see it on the on the photo, I'm looking for the surface to get rid of it. So of course we have the problems that in windPRO we have the rubber tool. You can say many of these things is behind the hill, and it is the hill is not included here when I don't have this one included. There is a workaround for that in when you export the photo here. You can actually project photo on surface and get the surface included. I don't want to go into that, but it's just so you know it. Instead, I'll just export the other camera. There was 2 camera objects in the project, also in 1000 meter. And I'll run that one too. It needs to open up the photomontage itself. This is the other camera, and so now I have both cameras here, and this is how the project looks from the other camera. So it's kind of cool, and it's added here the other camera. But this you could actually bring into some other render program, and if you are looking for something that is more professional than what you see here in SketchUp, because SketchUp is not really what we call a render. It doesn't have a real render engine. It is just being showing in a very simple way, and you can also find errors in how it shows up. You can see the trees here at the edges. It looks a bit strange. But you can install render engines into SketchUp, something like V-Ray, maybe other render engines into SketchUp, or you can export the whole thing to other programs like Cinema 4D or 3D Studio Max. So I have experience with Cinema 4D, and that works quite nice, and you can do really cool and nice things with that. And if you do that, you might also want to export this here when you project on the surface. So but now I think actually I got to the end of my list, and we have that is 2 minutes before. Can that be true? Maybe that is because I didn't have any real big problems. Yes, I just have one thing we talked about. If you want to show shadows in correctly in a photomontage, then from a VTG or something like that, you can see now when I turn on shadows now, it takes a little while for it to show up, but that is because we have so many objects that's casting a shadow. There's also, you can see the shadows from the PV panels, and you can from the trees, and also from the transmission lines actually on the surface and stuff like that. But if you want to get these into to windPRO photomontage, there is actually a kind of a workaround where you can save your photo here from that might not be a good example. I expect the shadows to turn up now. Yeah, here we can see we have the shadows on the panels and also on the ground a little bit. And it is possible to export that and get just the shadow areas into to windPRO, but then you have to use Photoshop. But I think I made a tutorial on that. It's a little bit tricky, and it takes a little Photoshop work. But if you have a special photo you want to take special care of, and you want to do it really nice, then I think we have a tutorial for how to do that. I think I will say now there is only 10 minutes left, so this is time for questions. Do you have a feeling about if there is? I don't see any raised hands, but is there anything in the chat?
Well, we have this question about the shadow from SketchUp in Photomontage.
Yeah, okay. But as I said, you can get the shadows as we see them here. I can very quickly describe how it can be done, because here I can save this image here. I can export this to a 2D graphic, and then I can actually define exactly how so I can set it up with the correct size, so the height is the same as my original image. Then I can save this image with the shadows, and then I can save the same image without the shadows. Well, I'm getting a little confused about what I'm saying now, because it doesn't look right. So you can extract the difference between the shadowed ones and the not shadowed ones. And there's something I forgot, because obviously everything is different when I have shadows on and when I don't have shadows on. So, but I remember.
Can have a look at the video.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, yeah.
We have another question actually. It's about the list of objects in SketchUp integration. Is it important to have the order, and can we change the order up and down of all those lines?
Is that the orders out here in the left side?
I think on the right side.
So all these items here.
Yeah.
You cannot change the order as it is now. So they are just coming in the order you create them. No. So that's.
It's in SketchUp actually, not in windPRO.
Right. No, it's really annoying that in SketchUp you cannot. They are ordered alphabetically. So it's really annoying. So, but of course you can give them number 1, 2, 3, and then it will be sorted by that. So. But yeah, I didn't show how to get actually your project here from SketchUp into to create a website. Yeah. So if I want to get it into and show it on as a web link, then you can define first, like these scenes I have here. And I could create several of those. Maybe I think that this is a very important position right here that I want to show the project from. Then I can create what is called scenes. We have 1 or 2 down here. That's the 2 photomontages. I create a new one. And then I can call it whatever I like down here. And you can see it shows up here. So this then when I move from place to place, it shows the different scenes up here. So, and then I can go into the online version of SketchUp. It's called appsketchup.com. And that is simply SketchUp has created an online version of SketchUp, which is actually free. And here you can load. You can simply open your project from your device. Then it's opened up a file, open dialog. And then I have already done that for another project, the one I'm showing you. And then when you have the project opened, and that's just any project, you can actually go and edit it here from inside this program, and it has more or less the same tools that you have on the desktop version. But then they also have this button, and here you can see there's a link to the project, and you can share that with anyone. So that's a way to do it. And here you also have these scenes. That is also available in in what you have shared with people. So that's the same kind of scenes that I showed you here in that I just created up here. So you can give them more sensible names, and it could be VTG layout 1 and VTG layout 2 or similar things like that.
And about the layout for the PV panel, we have a question if it's possible to import specific layout design from a different software like AutoCAD.
We can import from shapefiles. The only thing we can actually import is the bounding areas. and you can import that as shapefile. So if and that's actually so far the only thing we can import from. The position of the panels themselves is something we have on our list to do. So you can import specific positions of panels. So, but we don't do that. If you are working on only for visualizations, and you have a layout created in another software, you can see one of there's many of these I didn't talk about, but you can, for instance, import DVG and DXF files, and especially DVG is smart because that is it can be, if it's 3D DVG, it contains also the textures of objects. You can import a real 3D model. And if that is something you have, you can import a DVG file directly in SketchUp. But if you use this import tool here, you can also define that if you know that model is created in a specific coordinate system, you can say here which coordinate system it is, and then it's placed the correct place inside your model. So maybe if you can get your whole solar PV layout in a DVG file, then you can import it either using this tool here that will place it correctly if it is in the correct coordinate system, or you can simply go into in SketchUp Pro. You can have they have this import option, and you can import a lot of different things. It supports a lot of different a lot of different formats, and for instance also DVG and DXF.
Okay, and how about side vision? Can you just say a few words at the end about it?
Yeah, side vision, this is what I showed here. You can go and see the video. This is wonderful me, and this is how the side vision, this is actually the old side vision device. As I said before, now they are simply using this much. Yeah, it's very similar, but it doesn't have the hand, the tool, the grip. You have to have another kind of grip you install yourself, but you can also attach iPads or something like that to it. And then you have to have a subscription for side vision, the side vision application that you run on your tablet. So, and then it works very well with windPRO. You can see I have this side vision button here, and what it does, that takes the current SketchUp project that you are working with here from this window, and convert it to a coordinate system. Actually, it's UGN VGS 84 and in the correct zone. And it writes a file down together with the SketchUp project that makes it just go straight into side vision, and you don't have to calibrate the position of your model. It just works. So this is, and actually that's quite nice, because if you can of course load any 3D SketchUp file into side vision, but then you have to spend a lot of time trying to put it in the correct place out there. And it just works out of the box if you're using windPRO.
Well, thank you, Jon. If there are some other question coming along or later, we can answer them. But now it's time to wrap up. So thank you everyone, because you have attended this webinar. I hope you have enjoyed it and learned a lot about what the SketchUp integration tool can help you with in your daily work. So remember to activate the license if you haven't done so, to get use of the free trial until January 2023. Go to activation and check SketchUp integration tool. If you're not a windPRO user but would like to try, then you are welcome to contact our sales department. And again, for any technical question, we are here at support@emd.dk to help you on the way. So thank you for now, and have a nice end of morning, day, or evening, and see you another time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.